As usual, I'm going to say something that's controversial. Basically, almost the only way for most men to maintain the masculine frame and leadership in the relationship is if your woman is not exactly your type. I'll repeat it again. For generally speaking, for most men, the only way for you to remain the leader and not fall for, go for every whim of your girlfriend or every suggestion of your girlfriend or wife is that you kind of have to be annoyed by her a little bit. And the only way to be annoyed by her is not only probably her talking a lot, but also too, her not looking exactly the way you want her to look. So I'm not suggesting get with like a huge woman or a really ugly woman. I would say, generally speaking, get a woman who has most of the physical qualities you like, and of course, almost all the character qualities, which is more important. I'll do that in a later video. But as far as physically, if a woman is your exact type, I don't care how much game you have. I don't care how much red pill knowledge or knowledge about, okay, I remember all those videos I watched that told me to act a certain way and not to just, simp for her too much or whatever it is. It almost goes right out the window when she's exactly what you want. My wife is Latina. She's a little lighter skinned than I prefer. I actually prefer the darker ones. But she's a good woman. She has a nice shape. She has long hair. She has a pretty face. Shorter than me, an hourglass figure, all that good stuff. I'm not even going to go into more detail. I don't want y'all to lust too much. But basically, that's what she is. But if she was more tanned, like the color of, let's say, Selma Hayek or, maybe an Arabic woman, it would be a wrap. It would be extremely hard for me to not follow after her every 10 seconds like a horny wolf, or every time she complains about something, oh, sorry, sweetie. It will be really hard for me to do. So this is something that most red pill guys won't tell you. Some will say looks don't matter as much, but they don't go into detail as to why. Not only, yes, because, the hotter she is, generally speaking, the less she's going to want to settle down with just one guy or give all her attention to just you, even while in a marriage or whatever, or a relationship. But to me, it's mostly because we can't help it, man. Even Adam couldn't, shake off Eve in the garden and tell her not to eat the fruit. David had a bunch of wives and concubines already, and he still felt like he had to take Bathsheba, Uriah's wife, and get Uriah killed. And I'm guessing Jezebel must have been fined in a mug because King Ahab allowed her to, try to hunt down Elijah and kill him. Elijah was so shook, he said, God, just take me out the game. And he took him to heaven. One of the few people in the Bible that never died. But, what was I going to say? Another example, the most famous example or infamous example is Samson and Delilah. Delilah must have been fine. She must have been smelling good. His parents suggested to him, hey, why don't you go for a nice Hebrew girl that worships the same God as you? He's like, nah, I have to have that. I have to have it. And it brought him to death. It brought him to death, even though he repented at the end and God allowed him to kill a bunch of Philistines and stuff like that. But I'm here to tell you, man, I know it's hard to believe what I'm saying or hear what I'm saying because we all want the baddie, as they call it nowadays. We all want the most beautiful, drop-dead, gorgeous woman we can get. But look what ends up happening, though. And here's another thing, too, that I didn't even mention. Let's say a woman, okay, there's a doctor, he has, I think it's Psych Hacks, shout out to him. He said something profound. He said, in every relationship, there's an adorer and an adored. And it's best for the woman to be the adorer and the man to be the adored. As much as girls love to say, oh, it's better to have a guy like you more than you like him, please don't believe that BS. All the guys who like that girl or those particular girls more than they like them are in the friend zone or getting used. So don't believe what they say. The guy that they do the most for is a guy that they really like and he's just indifferent towards them. That's the best way to describe it. I'm not saying get with a woman who you don't like, but just get with a woman where it's like, I can take her or leave her. It allows you to maintain your frame as a man. It allows you to not, fold to every little complaint she has or whatever. Because when a woman knows you're her type, women are bad with power. I'm not saying some men aren't, but women are terrible with power. They treat men bad. When you're into her more than she's into you, they treat you like a peasant. Versus the average man who has a woman who likes him more than he likes her is at least somewhat appreciative. because he doesn't get that very many women that are appreciative of him like that, or that like him, or show they like him. He's used to paying for all the dates. So when you meet a girl who's like, oh my gosh, you're so handsome, and I'm not talking about love bombing, I'm talking where you can genuinely tell she likes you, where she's buying you stuff. You know what I'm talking about. So yeah, that's just my word of advice. You guys can take it or leave it, but trust me, it works out better that way. When a woman can tell you like her more than she likes you, she starts thinking, I'm not even all that. Because we already know women have low self-esteem. Even the hottest women that we all agree are 10s out of 10s, whatever fine hot celebrity or P-star that you think is just so hot, there's something about herself that she hates. It could be her teeth, her nose, the second toe might be bigger than the long toe, one leg might be longer than the other slightly, whatever. It could be something. So she needs to be with a guy. In order to respect the guy, in a relationship, she needs to get with a guy who's just like, Sometimes he might take little funny jabs at her, like, look at your big old toes, or look at that, whatever it is, in a funny, cute way. Versus when she's with a guy who's into her, like, oh, you're my exact type. You're so beautiful. No, sweetie, your stomach is perfect, or whatever it is. Your nose is great. Like, she's gonna get tired of you, which is why, I said in another video about the whole arranged marriages are better, because women just make no sense when it comes to who they choose. They really don't. Anyways, over and out.